Hey, everyone. So glad you can join in for part 2 with the delightful and multi-talented Elena Danaan as my guest. And by the way, make sure and check out part 1, where you will learn about recent exciting victories for our planet, Moon, and Mars, and a personalized offering from the Galactic Federation of Worlds Commander, Thor Han Eredyon, and Elena. In part 1, we finished with Elena sharing the exact words that can be used for yourself to speak aloud and coming from your heart as an equal sovereign being. This is a declaration for assistance and protection from the benevolent Galactic Federation of Worlds for those of you who choose to use it. This is done, of course, without giving any of your personal power away. Okay? So I feel this is very important for us to do, and those who desire to speed truth disclosure along and assist the awakening that we're in now of our recognition of each one of us as multidimensional, eternal, and infinite creators. So please go check that out if you haven't already. I just put it up today with 40 pictures on my YouTube channel, Super Soul Solutions. My guest, Elena Danaan, came to Terra, which is the galactic name for Earth, as an emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds and to guide humans in reconnecting with their true nature and power, embracing their sovereignty at this great awakening time. We have heard that there is nothing more important than to know yourself, and that is, of course, often challenging for us as a multi-generational traumatized species who is recovering from amnesia. Elena has multiple talents and abilities, a few being a gifted artist, epigraphist, and archaeologist who is in direct contact with the courageous and compassionate Dimensional Pleiadian Commander Thor Han. Together, they are doing a stellar job, pun intended, at helping us humans ignite our forgotten memories and awaken to the truth of our galactic history, not to mention the magnificence and unlimited, fearless nature of our multidimensional beingness. Thank you all for being here and for being curious. And thank you, Elena, for sharing your delightful spirit and sage counsel with us today. Are you there?
Thank you, Mary. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you hear me well.
I do. Great. Oh. We're good, well connected. With help from our friends. Okay.
I'm so glad. Oh.
Okay, so with the intention of recovering our repressed memories and history, will you begin by speaking about the origin and seeding of the human race?
Yes, sure. Of the few I know, of course. I know that human race has the human species has been seeded in our galaxy from outside this galaxy. It is not native to this galaxy. It's been brought by beings belonging to an intergalactic federation. Among them, where I know of the Ptal or Patal, they first seeded the human genome in the constellation of Lyra in a few star systems. The first star system where they seeded human species was what we call Kepler 62. And from there, humankind sailed away throughout the galaxy. So that is what I know.
Okay. All right. And wasn't there a part of it actually that is referred to as man, as the man sector, the man?
Yes. Oh, yes. This star system, Kepler, that we name Kepler 62, was named by their inhabitants Mana. Mana was the name of the star. Mana means mother in the Taami language, the old Lyran languages. Mana, and so the species living in this star system called themselves the man species. So that's the name. The first time humankind was named. The first name they named themselves man, or did they name themselves as such, or did their seeders, if I can say, name them like that? I don't know. But that's what it comes from, the name of the star, Mana.
That's so interesting, because we have carried down the word mankind.
Yeah.
Right? And
absolutely.
so there's the hint kind of there. And or mankin, you could even say. It's kind of a subconscious meme to remind ourselves not only where we are from, but that we are kindred to the stars. And of course, my challenge, when we humans are our best selves, we speak and act with kindness. So you have mankind. I think that's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yes, very cool. And another thing as well is that who, who in this old language means sons or offspring. And the sons, the offsprings of man, of the man species, the offsprings of the man species. Who, in fact, it's who man, the sons of man.
Wow. I had a guest for several shows a little while back, Scott Lemriel, who is involved, and he would talk about the importance of sounding HU to connect with source. So that's fascinating. Synchronicity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
We all are offsprings of source, so that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so how about I have you share a very important part of our relatively current history, so people could have a slightly bigger picture and much greater clarity about what and why is occurring now. So will you go back to when Eisenhower was president, 1953 to 4, I think, and share what occurred for him and to him, and how we humans got sidetracked for 67 years?
Yes, that's when our problems really began, but really a bad turn. Eisenhower was contacted by extraterrestrials of the Galactic Federation, the good guys, in 1954. And the Galactic Federation sent humanoids from the Galactic Federation, not to freak out everyone, because there are many species. I think there were 5 ships. They landed. I don't remember. I think it was the name of the base was Muroc. It has another name now. Edwards Air Force Base, I think. Maybe I may be wrong. I don't remember exactly. Well, anyway, the ships landed there. They even left a ship as a gift to retro-engineer. And they met President Dwight Eisenhower to warn him for 2 things. To warn him against the imminent coming of a very, very malevolent race group, the Greys from Orion. The Orion group, their name is Nebu, Nebu. And so the people from the Federation warned Eisenhower. They said, "Do not. They are going to come and to offer you a deal, but it's poisoned. Do not accept. We do not advise that you accept to sign anything with them. They are doing this on all the worlds. They want to conquer. Please do not do this." And Eisenhower was all right, was okay with them. Said, "Yeah, that sounds scary. Yeah, thank you for the warning." And the second thing was, we are here to help you and to bring balance. So we know these guys are going to come to you and offer you a deal, and we want to offer you an opposite deal in exchange, and you choose, so you have the balance. So our deal is we help you evolve, we give you amazing technology, but in exchange you deactivate all your nuclear weapons, because you need to get on with each other in peace, and then we cooperate and we help you, and etc. That sounded really, really good. Eisenhower was going to go for that, but the thing is that the MJ-12, the group that was recently created, didn't want to go with that, because that wasn't interesting. Disarming all the nuclear weapons, no, they didn't want to do that, the MJ-12. So the agreements were put on hold. Eisenhower, there's a rumor that say that he signed an agreement with the Federation, but not to deactivate the weapons, but to cooperate on certain programs, scientific programs. So that I'm going to talk about later. So a year after, in 1955, on another military base, land ships from the Nebu, the Orion Greys, and they are met by still President Eisenhower and the MJ-12 and the officials. And there were not only the Orion Greys, but also the German breakaway civilization, the German Draco Alliance from Antarctica, the former Nazis who built a breakaway civilization in Antarctica with the Draco reptilians. So these were there too. And at that time, the American government was freaked out by this guy, by the guys from Antarctica, freaked out because this guy from Antarctica had ET technologies. The reptilians had given them everything, spaceships and everything. So they were scared. I mean, the American government was scared of all these guys. Eisenhower still didn't want to sign with them, but he managed to do an agreement with what is called the Dark Fleet, the German breakaway civilization. It was like a pact of non-aggression with them, and there was implied technology exchange, which didn't work. So that's the only thing. Eisenhower, all he wanted was peace. But the thing is that the MJ-12, behind his back, signed with the Orion Group. They signed with the Orion Group. They agreed with them, and that was the doom of humanity. It's not anymore. I mean, we are fixing this. This is being fixed at the moment, and we are winning this. But the MJ-12 signed behind Eisenhower back with the Greys from Orion. What was these agreements? It is known under the name the Greada Treaty. So it was a trick. The Greys said, we give you amazing technology, and in exchange, and we help you to build up your warships, and we help you in warfare technology with extraterrestrial technology. Oh my God, all the industrials and the military complex, they were like, oh wow, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go with you guys. That's yeah. And what do you want in exchange? So in exchange, the Orion Greys said, we just want that you allow us some underground facilities, that we can stay there, put all our gears there in some undergrounds, and if you could, by very kindness, allow us to abduct just a few people, that because our race is dying, poor us, which was a lie, and we need genetic material to renew it. So, but it will be, they won't be harmed. They won't be harmed. They won't remember anything. Don't worry. So the Americans say, the MG12 say, yeah, okay, yeah, here's a list of. There wasn't a lot of people on that list, maybe 100 of people. I don't remember. I don't know exactly what I've been told. Don't remember. And but the thing is, he didn't go like this at all. At all. The Greys didn't respect anything. Millions of people were abducted and still are every year to be sold on sex trade, galactic trade, slave trade. That's absolutely horrendous. But Eisenhower was really angry against his government, and he tried to get this treaty back. At the time, they were kept in Area 51, and Eisenhower even tried to storm. He wanted to storm Area 51. He tried. He did it, but he couldn't. He even did it, but he couldn't get these documents back, who were in the hands of the CIA. So at that moment was the time when Commander Val Thor was sent by the Galactic Federation to try to tidy up a bit all that mess. So Val Thor was concluded agreements with Eisenhower and his good guys, the good side of the government, for secret technology exchange. That was the start of a cooperation of the Galactic Federation with the U.S. Navy on building secret space programs for protection of the Earth. Because, the Galactic Federation said, okay, the humans of Earth, they signed with the bad guys. We can't watch that and do nothing. We're going to help them. We cannot save them because they signed with the other ones, but we can do something, and we're going to help them build themselves up technologically and militarily, that they will be in power to fight the Greys. So that was the start of the cooperation. So that's for the ancient history.
That is really, really important and profoundly stated. Thank you. And just remind people, we mentioned this in part one, but I'm not sure they're getting finer points of wait, what happens, because there is those compliance laws. So when a president only has a certain level of clearance, typically something called Q15, there's much higher, and many presidents like Reagan and Eisenhower and Kennedy and stuff all were frustrated because, basically people are telling him, you don't have a right to know, Mr. President, right?
Yeah.
And they're like going, what, WTF, right? So,
yeah.
So that's going on ever since the invention of, CIA and of course, MJ stands for Majestic, for those of you that want to look up the people involved. And their self-serving interests. And, of course, we're coming out of the Cold War, and all different kinds of things have happened at different times. So I have a little interesting thing to add. I'm in touch with a friend and who's in touch with a group that are actually really good channelers, and they're in touch with Eisenhower. He has told them the exact same thing that you said. He also is still working out. He feels bad about it, and he is still working out. He does say that not only was he blindsided and backstabbed, but he was actually controlled through part of it. So I don't know, go ahead.
Yeah, what Val Thor told me is that he said that the hands of Eisenhower were tied. He said these words, Yeah.
And because you got to meet Val Thor, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So do you want to describe him and where he's from and how he and Eisenhower got along?
Yeah, sure. Oh, sure. So, so Val Thor is a human from the Tal race. This is a race that is directly originally from constellation Lyra, the Man system, who sent a colony extremely long ago on to Venus, to our star system, and the Tal are there since, or the Tali, should I say, are there since immemorial times, and they are now like Venusians. They are not the only colony on Venus. There are other races there. So Val Thor belongs to these people, and he was commissioned by the Galactic Federation to because he's a good diplomat, and they found him really fit for the mission to go there, and he very quickly he grew with Eisenhower a very, very deep friendship. They really liked each other, and what Val Thor said to me is that what moved him was something very important. Eisenhower's love for his children and grandchildren, especially his grandchildren. Eisenhower loved children, and when I said that, I said that to Laura Eisenhower, she nearly broke in tears. She said, "That is so right. That was so him." And so Val Thor was moved, and he said that because Dwight Eisenhower loved so much his grandchildren, he wanted the children of the whole Earth to be safe and happy, and in the hands of the Orion Greys. That wasn't going to be fun for the kids, for the children of Earth. So that was the main motivation of Eisenhower. It was the children, Val Thor said. And that was quite moving to hear that. They still have a friendship on another plane of existence. So I met Val Thor. Yes, I met him 3 times actually. I never hoped meeting this person. You know, I'm just me. What? You know, that never occurred to my mind until I've done a lot of video on YouTube, and my followers were asking me, "Oh, please, ask about Val Thor. I went, "All right, I'm going to ask Thor Han, my protector, who is a commander in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, fleet commander." I said, "Okay, he has the same grade as Val Thor, actually." So it was easy to connect. So I asked him, and he said, "Okay, if you want to contact this person," he said, I don't know him. I have no connection to him. He's on Venus. I'm on one of the motherships in orbit of Earth. Well, it's like next door, you know. But anyway, you can have neighbors and you don't know them. Anyway, he said, and I'm going to put the request. That will go bounce by hierarchy to Venus and see if he replies." And a lot of time passes. I remember it was 2 months, and Thor Han finally said to me, "Well, just forget about it." I put the request a few times. He didn't reply. He said, "Just forget about it. I think he's too busy." And then he said, I know, he said, that he's been very disappointed by humans, and he doesn't want to really have anything to do with humans, and he's just working in the background. So that's maybe why he doesn't want any contact with you. I say, "Oh, yeah, okay, no, I don't take any offense. I mean, who am I, So, okay, well, pity, but okay." And then one night, to me, he said, "Okay, I have a surprise for you. Do you want to come up?" And then I went, "Oh, wow." And when he says that, I need to drop everything. I have no choice. Well, I could say no. Yeah, that's it. Well, I could say, "Oh, no, but no." So I say, "Okay, right." So I prepared myself, I relaxed, and he beamed me up. and on the orbital station, the mothership where he works. And in there's a room. There's many rooms where you rematerialize. There are some patches on the floor, like disc, and you materialize on that. And as when my particles reconstitute, I'm very dizzy and I cannot see very well. It takes time and it's very blinding light, and my head is dizzy. So I was distinguishing on my left Thor Han silhouette, but two other men on the right, and then I saw them. They were both wearing the Tal uniform, which is silvery white, very shiny silver, and they were totally humanoids, and both had short black hair. And I got it straight away. I went, "Oh my God, is that happening?" Is that happening? And I was totally liquefied. I wasn't feeling well because I had just rematerialized, and I was suddenly under emotional shock straight away. I have to say I was even nauseous. It was too much. So Thor Han was laughing about me, and he said, "Oh," he introduced me. "This is Commander Val Thor and his brother. They came to visit, and they accepted to have a little chat with you. You can ask questions if you want." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I want just to disappear, dig a hole and disappear." And I went, "Oh my God, that's it." No, I mean, how do you react? I mean, you go like, "Ah!" Yeah, that is not happening to me. And I couldn't say a word. So Val Thor came to me. He was amused, and he shook my hand, and I was like, "Why, whatever." Okay. Oh my God. And oh my God, I'm touching him. He introduced himself, and he said he has a very soft and gentle voice, and very sweet and soft voice, very nice. And he said that Thor Han, he got the request from Thor Han, and he didn't want to reply. He wasn't interested until he knew that who I was and what was my job on Earth, and so he was interested to meet me. And I went, "What the hell? Oh my God!" And I went, "Wow!" And I was so grateful, and so grateful, and then I went, "Come on, Elena, embrace it, own it." Stop, Okay, so I went, "Yes," and I said to him that I was so glad to meet him, and I said, "Well, I actually had 100 of questions, but I forget all of them," and he was laughing. So we went to. I was so impressed, and he has such a very strong aura, very sizzling, very powerful aura. You really feel the commander, the war chief, is very, very strong and powerful energy field, and you can really feel it when you're next to him. So we walked to a place in the ship where there were seats. We could sit like circular area, and we sat there. And he started to tell me about just what I told you about how he came. He was sent by the Federation, and all of this about Eisenhower and the children, etc. And in the conversation, I managed to ask him a few questions about Eisenhower, etc. And I was very surprised that when he told me that Eisenhower never signed anything with the enemy, never, ever. and he was tricked by his officials, by the military complex, and he was very bitter and annoyed about it, and he tried to get that back, but he never could. And so instead, Val Thor was there to first help him, but then to also build these secret space program agreement and Pentagon. And also, what he told me is that he was there also as a spy for the Federation, because the Federation wanted to know exactly what happened with these agreements, who signed it, the most information as possible. So Val Thor was also there to inquire. But in the meantime, he didn't stay in. He stayed 3 years there, but he didn't stay in America all 3 years. He went all over the world. He went to meet different leaders. He met with the Russian president also to try to get the same cooperation and peace agreements. Try to and the Russians were very, very cautious. They didn't want, they really stepped back. They are very. Val Thor said that the Russians were very paranoid. They wouldn't sign with anyone. Different culture. So yeah, and you know what so that from this meeting with him, there are two things that blew my mind that he said, and these two things I repeated over and over again, and it's in my next book is about this. And he said to me two things. When I broke in tears because we were sat in a room where circular sofas, and behind, on my right, there was a big window, and through this window you could see a little bit of the curvature of the Earth. Which is spherical, lads. I need to place that one.
Not flat.
I never miss an opportunity to place that one. Anyway.
Yes. And
I had this because it's very bright. It was very bright. The sun was bouncing off the planet of it, and this was a blue, white, bright light. If I had turned my head to look at it, I probably would have blinded my vision because it was so bright. So I could feel the presence of Earth, the planet, just behind the window. And with it, suddenly, I don't know what happened. It's like if I was channeling the soul of humanity. I was feeling this presence of all the souls of Earth, seeking for help and answers. And in despair, I could feel this despair, and seeking for answers. And that just rushed all through me, and I burst in tears. And I managed to say few words to him. I said, people need to believe. People need answers. People are desperate. They are in fear. They're in the dark. They are in ignorance. Please show us your ships. Something, show us something in the sky, or show yourself, do something to help humanity keep hope. And I was crying, and he went closer, and I had my hands clutching my trousers and on my knees, and I was shaking, and he put his hands on mine, and suddenly my hands just relaxed, and I felt like a fluid coming from him, an energy fluid, just pouring into me and relaxing me. And suddenly, all my sobbing stopped, and I disconnected from the soul of humanity. I disconnected from it, and I just was on my own again. And I looked at him, and he said to me, he said, humanity is not yet ready. We will show ourselves in times of peace, not in times of war, because the last thing humanity needs now is more chaos. He said, we have been working, we're already here, we have been working with your good governments at building grants and good things. We have been helping you since a long time. We have been avoiding you to blow yourselves up since a long time, deactivating your nuclear missiles, doing a lot of things. He said, but now it's not the moment, but this moment will come. He said, but you need to know that you need to make an effort. Humanity needs to make the extra effort. We are not here to save you, but we are here to assist you saving yourselves. This is very important. This is the law of evolution. And he said, and he said this sentence, the first thing he said, we cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chains. That was extra powerful. Yes, we cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chains. So you need to liberate yourself. And that's when he told me that the best way to liberate yourselves is this request of assistance to the Galactic Federation of Worlds. This text I read in your last program, this thing that came from him. And secondly, he said, yes, that's it. That was the moment. That was the moment he told me. And the second thing I want to say that he said to me, which resonated in me, like it shook my whole being, and it will be the title of my next book about him. He said to me, he tightened his hands on mine, and he leaned forward and he looked into my eyes, and he said this. He said, "We will never let you down. We never have, and we never will." And that was and it wasn't only words, because when he spoke to me, it was spoken words and at the same time telepathy. It was both. So it resonated in me so deeply. And this message, these two messages, we cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chain, and we will never let you down. These two messages, I am spreading them the best I can. So this is my encounter with him.
Oh, profound. Brings tears to my eyes.
I know.
Yeah. There's now, if I'm correct, let me know, but I just want to let people know, because if they're used to the regular programmed physics that they talk about here, not that physics isn't real, they're going to say, oh, you can't live on Venus. But as far as I understand, Val Thor is fifth dimensional, and they have protective atmospheric domes that they also cloak. Is that correct?
Yes, they live in underground cities that are half. There's a little bit off the surface, outside on the surface, but it's just the top of the domes. They mainly live underground, and they have because it's not possible to live on Venus. It's not fit for biological life as carbon life forms as we are. And they are as well. Although there are life forms on Venus who carbon life forms, but I think it's acid. It's sulfuric acid life forms, which is you can find that in other places in the galaxy as well. So yes, they live on Venus underground. They have their own power generators. They have their each city has its own little micro sun that works by antimatter technology. And that's right. That you cannot live on Venus, but you can live underground in biodomes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that for the audience. And there is a very, very cute story that I heard from you and one other person that Val Thor, as far as I know, had pretty much carte blanche to be in the White House over 3 years. And I think, didn't Eisenhower finally say, "You freak me out every time you just teleport in beside me"?
Yes.
Can you?
Yes. Yes. Well, it wasn't exactly Eisenhower. Well, yeah, I suppose Eisenhower would be surprised. Who wouldn't? But who said that to him? It was the military, the generals, and yes, they
and plus
they
his
hate
bodyguard.
Oh my God,
maybe the president's bodyguard.
Yes, or maybe. Oh yes, there was a guy he told me about. He was always with the president, and he didn't like Val Thor. Yes, I remember. He told his name, but I don't remember. And he said yes. So because it was becoming a security issue, he was freaking out all the security. So they gently asked. When I don't know if they asked him gently, but they asked him to stop doing this. So
when it's so normal for most
he was beaming directly from his ship. He was beaming from his ship. So he said okay. So he accepted to move in a flat in the Pentagon and being brought by car to the White House every time he wants to meet the president or whichever. Yeah, I know. He hated it. He hates our cars. He said it's so primitive. It was so slow, and but he played a game that was, he was coming on a more primitive planet, so he played the game.
Yeah. That's a great one. Fellow, I'm just going to add this really, really, really quick. Since Val Thor is also from Venus, another one who is reportedly from Venus, and I believe he is my favorite inventor, Nikola Tesla, whose IQ was reported, depending on who took it, 160 to 310. And I believe he did admit that he was in conversation with ETs telepathically. He talked to a dove that was telepathic, and he, I believe he was brought in as a baby to a couple that lived in the mountains of Serbia to raise him. And that might have been an easier way also for him to remember more. That's what I'm thinking, rather than going through the typical reincarnation thing. But everyone who does not know about Nikola Tesla, not the Elon Musk stuff, the real Nikola Tesla who has 300 inventions, really, he is like amazing being. Now, Elena, we only have a little bit more time left, but I know people will be really curious about this, and your description of what it was like to teleport dovetails with other people that I have talked to. They're like, oh my God, you get motion sickness and all this kind of stuff, and you want to throw up. So I would love you to share the two types of teleportation that you have gone through. And
yes.
Now, and you mentioned dematerialization and realization. Now, from some other people I've talked to, there's 5 different kinds or something. But you went through twice, and this show is about you talking from your personal experience. So, I mean, when you completely disassemble and reassemble yourself, if I understood you correct, that has got to be really disorienting. And then my question is, are you actually a new version fractal of yourself at that point?
Yes, so very interesting. So I have experienced 3 ways of going what I call upstairs on board a ship. Three ways. The first way is the classical abduction by a anti-graviton beam. That means it's a beam. It's not like it's anti-gravity beam. It's going to lift your body, your physical body, from ground to a ship, and that's short distance. That can be done only from ground to a ship, just hovering above your house. That cannot be too far. It cannot be a ship on orbit, for instance. It needs to be a few dozens of meters above your house. So anti-graviton beam, it's your body is lifted but once you're in it, it feels like not solid, but kind of a goo. It has a substance. It's kind of dense. That's what I want to say. Dense light. It's really weird. And you float and you go from one point to another just by linear. So and sometimes you are taken. You can go through walls and roofs and. Because this beam de-densifies everything, every obstacle on the way. It does that too. So that's why you can be sleeping in a bedroom and you can be abducted and go through the roof. You don't know how. And I've experienced that. It's not that uncomfortable. It's freaking out. It's terrifying, but physically you're fine. You just have mega vertigo, and you're just freaked out. But physically you're fine. I mean, nothing happens to you physically. So that's
Are you
one.
paralyzed?
Now,
are you paralyzed?
Yes, you're numb.
Your eyes?
Yes, you're paralyzed. You're numb. You can kind of move, but it takes enormous effort. You're numb, like you don't feel, you couldn't feel yourself. If you would hurt yourself with your fingers or nails or pinch yourself, you wouldn't feel it, but you nearly paralyzed. I would say 90% paralyzed, nearly. And you breathe, your heartbeat, your heart works, your brain works, your eyes and ears and smell, it works. But it's the motricity that is neutralized. Yeah, only the motricity. Then that's one I experienced. Then not my favorite one because I have vertigo and I freak out. Then two other ones that I have experienced are two different kinds of teleportation. So the first one is physical teleportation. My physical body just dematerialized. It's like it's quantum leap. It's a quantum transfer from a point to another. So there is no linear travel of the particles. The particles of it's not like in Star Trek where the particles, when the people are teleported, the particles are sent a great speed to the Enterprise. It's not like this. There's no travel of the particles of the body, which would be unfortunate if you intercept a bird. Like wee.
Yeah.
No, it's a quantum transfer, and you rematerialize. You disappear somewhere and you reappear somewhere. You rematerialize physically. So when that happens, quickly you need to adapt to the environment. And when that happens, as soon as I rematerialize, there's always Thor Han or someone who clips around my waist a belt. This is a frequency belt. This belt is going to adapt my body to the environment. If it is in a higher density, it will adapt me to the higher density. It will allow me to breathe. It produces a field around my body that is protecting me from different of atmosphere or pressure. It's quite neat. And the third method I experienced, which is a second kind of teleportation, they call it light transfer resonance. So it is teleportation, same as first one I explained, but not of all of me, only my light body, my light being. And that means that my physical envelope stays on Earth, and they dematerialize only the being that is inside, and I rematerialize on a ship. When that happens, I rematerialize as a light being, as a kind of a halo of particles. And So I don't know how they do that. I cannot explain it. They have a setting where they redensify my particles of light of my body. It's not light; it's energy particles into a solid body, which is a copy of my body on Earth. It could be anything else, could be, but that's how it's set up. Then I don't need any frequency belt or environmental suit. I don't need that because I am redensified to fit the environment. So that's that's it. So
that is one of the best explanations I've heard of that. It makes total sense. And now the belt, don't they wear that belt when they come here too?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And everyone has a belt.
You can use that
everyone
anywhere.
has a belt. Yeah, everyone has a belt. And,
I want one.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's exactly what I said to Thor Han once. And he said, no, you can't bring back anything. I know, but I just tried.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Can try,
Generally,
right?
when you materialize and dematerialize and teleport, they don't let you take certain things like metals and different things. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's something interesting. Something interesting. When I am teleported physically. I appear as I appear in pajamas or however I am. So, an advice from a lifelong abductor. what you're going to bed, what you're wearing,
is very important. Well, you're French anyway, so you probably have the fanciest pajamas in the world.
Yeah, I never sleep naked because I never know what's going to happen to me. So yeah, with the third method, the light transfer resonance. So I rematerialize with a copy body, which is not an avatar. It's not an artificial body. It's just me redensified in how I look on Earth. When that happens, I redensify with me naturally. I mean, if I dye my hair or if I wear fake nails or makeup or jewelry, none of this is recomposed because it doesn't belong to my biological body, to my, what is redensified is what is exactly the prototype
natural.
of my body, yeah, natural, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
That is interesting, and that verifies some of what I've heard. But you've done the best explanation. Thank you so much for those descriptions, and this is just so enjoyable. But let's get to your books, okay? Because you're writing a second book. And I just would like to say to people how I used her first book. She has 108 pictures that she's drawn herself of many ETs that are involved with us, with a short paragraph directed from Thor Han, also with his help of the agendas of this. Now, what I have done to prepare myself as an ambassador so that it will be easier for these people to meet us and us to meet them in a third, fourth, more dimension is I look at each picture, especially the ones I go, ugh, yuck. And I because we as mammals are very biased. And in fact, they know that the two ETs that will be the most comfortable with, the first are the ones that like Pleiadians that look like Thor Han, which are, 10 times more beautiful in our eyes, and the second group is anything that has fur. So probably like our dogs and cats, because they said humans are used to that, right? Anything else will freak out or go into cognitive dissonance. So if we practice ahead of time, it's really useful, is my point. Now, if I do this with even humans, but it gives you really good practice, because when you got an insectoid picture or a reptilian, to look at them and either try and see the beauty in it or something you respect about their culture, whether that's bravery, whether that's, whatever, loyalty. And what I know about all beings is they can read if they're respected or not. They can read if they're seen. So to me, I am just saying it's one of the most valuable, fun exercises that I've enjoyed with your book so far. But go ahead and tell people where to contact and how to get them. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you can follow my YouTube channel, Elena Danaan, where I put all my updates of my contact with ETs, many video tutorials about meditation, protection, and everything. So check that out. And I have a website, Elena Danaan, ELENADANAAN.org. ElenaDanaan.org. So in there you find many different things about me, my services, and my books, where to find my books. My book, A Gift from the Stars, is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. What else? I'm writing now a book about Val Thor, my contact with Val Thor and the Galactic Federation, all my travels, all the anecdotes, everything. That's going to be good fun with drawings again. That should come out 1st of September, hopefully. So keep tuned. That's
that is
it
so
about
exciting.
me.
That is so exciting. And I have 7 of her T-shirts because I love the things. They're high quality cotton. You think I'm trying to sell, but I'm not. I've got the Lyran Ancestry mug. I've got the this. I got the that. You have the best stuff. So go to her website, and you guys will have lots of fun. And I thank you so much, so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so join us again in 2 weeks, and Elena will be back for more fun and amazing stories. Okay, so until then, shine on and upward and onward.